9 ways to make more money from your Facebook ads. Now, if you are a coach who is looking to run Facebook ads to make more revenue, but also, and most importantly, more profit inside your coaching business, and this is probably one of the most valuable videos that I could ever make, because this is not just about having, inverted commas, a profitable Facebook ad account, but actually making significant money month on month through repeatable ad systems that you install into your coaching business. Now, there's 3 of the biggest levers that you can pull with Facebook ads to make drastically more money and to make a lot more profit inside your coaching business, and I'm going to go through all 3. I'm going to show you the maths on them, and then I'm also, like how they actually work, and then I'm also going to share 3 very practical things that you can implement to pull those levers and make more money from your Facebook ads. So without further ado, let's go into the video right now. And if you've never heard of me before, I'm Neil Shoney Mac. I have helped thousands of coaching businesses across the last 8.5 years to install repeatable ad systems into their coaching business that are cherry picked specifically for them, not a one-size-fits-all, not a one-size-fit system that every single coach should use, but we have over 35 ad systems and we cherry pick the perfect ones for the perfect coaches based upon their niche, how much skepticism is in their market versus another market, the price point of their product, whether they sell one-to-one group programs or passive products. We cherry pick the perfect ad systems and install them into the coaching businesses that are right in front of us. And so everything that we're about to go through today is not theory, it's not what makes sense, but it is actually what has worked specifically for thousands of coaching businesses across the last 8.5 years, and specifically what we're seeing right now in this very second at time of recording. So let's get into the video. Oh, and forgot we're on YouTube, so hit subscribe, hit like, and if you're a really good human being, then drop a comment down below and let me know you're there. Let me know any key takeaways, and indeed if there's any videos that you would like me to create specifically, then please let me know down below as well. Okay, so the very first one that we're going to look at is lowering the cost per lead. It is one of the most important levers that you can pull to make drastically more money with your Facebook ads. And I'm going to show you the maths right now so that you can see specifically how lowering your cost per lead can make you more revenue and more profitability directly from your Facebook ads. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the maths here for cost per lead, just so that you can see exactly how drastic the change is here in terms of your revenue and your profitability with your ads if you simply tweak things here. And then we're going to go into 3 very practical steps that you can take to reduce that cost per lead and see this type of result. So let's say that you spend $1,000 on ads, for instance. Pounds, euros, dollars, doesn't matter, 1,000. Cost per lead, pounds, euros or dollars match up. We're not doing exchange rates here. £2 per lead, right? £2, euros or dollars per lead is pretty decent. Funnily enough, with what we do inside our program, this is the very top line of what we would ever aim for. It does depend upon the market. If it's like business coaching, high skepticism markets, then you can have higher cost per leads, but in most cases, especially if people work with general pop, we're going to be aiming for drastically below £2, euros or dollars per lead. So £2 per lead, pretty decent, but definitely not the target, especially if you work with general pop. So let's say you spend 1,000, you get 500 leads, pretty decent, and let's say 1% of those leads buy your program at £1,000, euros or dollars. Well, that means that you've spent 1,000 on ads and you've made 5,000 back. 5 sales, only 1% of your audience actually purchased, but with that 1%, you have 5 purchases at 1,000, which comes to 5,000, and that's the sound of the pool cleaner. It's a weird robot thing. Anyway, so 1% buy, you've made 5k, so you've made a 5x return, you've made 4,000 in profit. Pretty decent, right? So you've made 5 grand and you've made 4,000 in profit. Very, very good. However, if you spend 1,000 on ads, so the same 1,000, and let's say your cost per lead is £1 per lead, or euros or dollars, and if you follow me for any length of time, you'll see that it's every couple of days we're sharing another win from the group where somebody's reporting leads at 27 pence, 47 pence, 73 pence, but it's low price leads, and it happens super frequently, and we've done that and reported that every single week for years. Well, if we say cost per lead is £1, so if you work to get it from 2 to 1, then in that scenario you would have 1,000 leads instead of 500. Now, if all is aligned on the back end of what happens after somebody becomes a lead and you have the same 1% come through, well, your conversion rate has stayed exactly the same. The only difference here is that you've spent the same amount of money, but you've got double the amount of leads. So if your conversion rate on the back end stays at 1%, you get 10 buyers instead of 5 buyers. So you make 10K. So if you want to make 10K from this strategy rather than 5K, and you want to have 9K in terms of profit rather than 4K in terms of profit, that's, by the way, more than double in terms of the profit that you make, then lowering your cost per lead by 50% will make that happen. And so that is the importance of cost per lead. Now let's dive into 3 ways that you can make that happen. Okay, so let's dive into 3 ways that you can actually make this happen. And the very first one is to utilize the Shoney25 method. This is a mathematical system that we use to set up Facebook ad campaigns. I set it up like this 8.5 years ago. In fact, more than 8.5 years ago, when I was just running them for my own businesses before I ever did consultancy and coaching. And right through to today, it still works, and it works for Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok ads. It works right across the board because it isn't a Facebook ad strategy, as it were. It's a mathematical system where every other coach out there is running a 1-1-1 campaign, which is basically saying that you have one campaign going to one ad set and then to one audience, which is basically saying to Facebook, hey, here's one variation that you can put out there, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Even if it does work, there's nothing we can do to lower the cost per lead. But when you use the Shoney255 method, what we have is 2 campaigns that go to 5 audiences and have 5 ads attached to each of those audiences. And so, albeit that it doesn't take a long time to set up the Shoney255 method, what you are doing is going from 1 variation and 1 chance of success to 50 chances of success. That, first of all, increases the likelihood of success of your Facebook ads in the first place dramatically. But the other thing that it does is it means that you can find winners and losers. And so if your cost per lead is already amazing, you're already getting $1 leads and you're absolutely buzzing with it, well, the really cool thing is you might be able to get 50 cents leads. How can you do that with the Shoney255 method? Well, you can go in and you can see the audiences that have cost per leads around 50 cents, and you can go into the ads that have leads around 50 cents, because what you'll see is that out of your 5 cold audiences, for instance, you will have some audiences that are getting 50 cents leads, some audiences that are getting $1 leads, but you will also have some audiences that are getting leads at like $4.20, and by simply turning those off, it allows you to push the budget towards where the lowest cost per leads are happening. If you have the 1-1-1 method, like every other coach is actually running, you end up in a position where even if you're getting $1 leads and you go, wow, that was effortless and I struck gold and I struck lucky and I actually have $1 leads here, there's nothing you can adjust. There's nothing you can learn in terms of the audiences, the ad creative, etc. And it makes it very, very difficult for you to get that cost per lead even lower. And further to that, it's very hard for you to be able to maintain that and scale that because you've only got one audience and one piece of creative. So the creative burns out over time and the audiences burn out over time as well. By having the Shoney255 method, you have your higher chance of success right from the word go. Second of all, it's very easy to lower the cost per lead after the very first ad review. We do the first ad review after 2 days with any coaching client that we have. So lower cost per lead thereafter, and it's more scalable. So you can have that ad campaign running for a longer period of time without having to make drastic changes. Which brings me nicely to number 2 here for lowering the cost per lead, which is to scale winning creatives. So just like I said there, something that you can do is you can take the 5 ads that you have running, for instance, in all of your ad sets, and you can turn off the ones that are not working as well. But there's something else that you can do here to lower the cost per lead. You can look at the images and the copy that have the lowest cost per lead, and you can use it as inspiration to go and create new pieces of images and copy for your ads that are akin to that piece of creative that you already can see is working well, and you can look to better it. So instead of just trying to come up with something completely new, throwing it in there, it's completely left field and it may win or it may be a complete flop and take your campaign and ruin it. Instead, you can take the very thing that's working really well and you can change something small about it and see if you can get a disproportionate cost per lead. For instance, I have a really simple blue background image with white text for my 5-day bootcamp, for my live masterclass, for pretty much everything. It works really well. And something that I did was I saw that that was the best performer in one of our campaigns, so I duplicated the image. I changed nothing about it except I changed the blue background to a pink background. The pink background had a better cost per lead, and that's what we lent into going forward. And so as you can see, taking inspiration from winning creative can allow you to find the pieces of creative that can lower your cost per lead moving forward as well. And the third one here you might feel is a little bit advanced, but it actually is very simple, which is to use test campaigns. So something that a lot of people get wrong with Facebook ad campaigns, and there's a time and a place for this to happen, by the way, but in many cases people do this very much at the wrong time to do it, which is they've already got a campaign that's winning. It's already working really well, they've got a good cost per lead, and they want to test out some new audiences. So what do? They duplicate the ad set or audience inside their Facebook ad campaign, and all within that campaign they test out another 1 or 2 audiences. What is Facebook going to do? It's going to go back into the early learning phase, number one. Second of all, they're going to take the budget that was allocated to where there was $1 leads, for instance, and they're going to reallocate that budget to these audiences that you have no idea whether they're going to work or not. So your $1 leads, and you trying to make an effort to see if there's audiences out there that will perform even better than the ones that you have, take your cost per lead from $1 to $3.20. Now your leads are costing more than 3 times the price. The way that you go around this to find audiences that may even have a better cost per lead and even more scalability than the audiences that you're utilizing right now is really simple. You do a test campaign. And this is how you do it really simply as well. You take the campaign that you're already running with the Shoney25 method that's already going to have 5 audiences in it, and you do nothing more than duplicate the campaign. You duplicate the campaign, you change the budget all the way back down to just $10 per day, and you test out 5 new, completely new audiences. So even if you're spending $50 per day or $100 per day or $5,000 per day, depends on where you are in your Facebook ad journey and your coaching journey, the test campaign you always start on a very small budget. It's nothing more than testing out to see if there's some great audiences there that you could put into your bigger, chunkier and more scalable campaign. When you do that on a low budget, you'll find more winners and you'll find more losers. You can take the winners, you can put it confidently into your scaling campaign, the big campaign with the higher budget, and you can do it confidently knowing that it's not going to break the campaign, but instead it's actually most likely going to pull the cost per lead even further down. Now you're more profitable and you have much more leverage to scale directly into. Okay, going into number 2 here, the second lever that you can pull to drastically increase the amount of money that you make from Facebook ads, and indeed the profitability as well, is to increase the lead quality. A lot of coaches will romanticize, and especially their coach might romanticize the cost per lead, but if nobody takes any action on the other side, and especially if they're not even taking any level of action, if they're not booking calls, starting conversations with you, or replying to emails, or whatever that thing is that you want them to do more of, if you simply have an ads dashboard that says, hey, we've got 200 leads there and it's a good cost per lead, but nothing's happening on the other side and you're not making any money from it, then lead quality may be that thing that you need to look at. Even if you have, you know, pretty good ROIs, well, one thing that you can do, a lever that you can pull to drastically increase the ROI overall, is to increase that lead quality. Get more of those great calls that you absolutely love, that you go on the call, you're like, that was the easiest sale of all time. Getting more of those people to come through your ads, to discover you, to go through immersive experiences or call to actions, and to take that action with you, that is an incredible lever that you can pull to drastically increase the amount of money that you make from Facebook ads and the profitability as well. So let's dive into the maths of how it works, and then let's dive into 3 different ways that you can very practically make this happen. So this is one that most people would think is like Very hard to quantify in terms of the maths, but it's actually pretty simple. So let's dive into everything on screen here. So you spend $1,000 on ads, cost per lead is £2. So you get 500 leads and 1% buy at 1,000. Okay, so now you've got 1% of your leads that come through are people who are qualified to buy and motivated. Very, very important. It's not just about if they're the right people and if they're within affordability, but also are they motivated to take action in that moment. Well, if 1% go through, I would say that your lead quality, as it were, is okay, especially if you've got a premium price product. So 1% buy at $1,000, you've got your 5,000 again, right? So you've got £1,000 spent on ads, you've got 500 leads, and you have 5,000 in sales. You've made 5,000, 4,000 in profit. Okay, pretty nice. However, if you spend the same 1,000 on ads and your cost per lead stays consistent, your cost per lead doesn't get any better, stays consistent at $2 per lead, well, that's still 500 leads. But if you can increase the quality of the lead in terms of their affordability, so you have more people within your 500 leads who can actually afford your product, and you increase the amount of motivation in the market by targeting the right people also through the creative and many other things that we'll talk about in a second, then you can get that 1% of people who come through to change to 2%, maybe even 3%, maybe even 4%, maybe even 5%. Okay, and that's us talking about premium price products. It might be even higher if it was something that was more affordable and more passive in nature. So 2% buyers means that you, again, because everything else stays consistent, it means that you literally double your revenue, right? So 1% buy going to 2% means £5,000 in sales, goes to £10,000 in sales, and it goes from 4,000 in profit to, again, over double, because your outgoings have stayed the same, but you've doubled your revenue. So you now have 9,000 in profit. Now you're really ready to put the foot on the gas and scale from here. So let's go into 3 practical ways that you can increase the quality of the people who are coming through your ads so that you can have drastically higher conversion rates on the other side. So the number one way that you can actually make this happen, a lot of people think that it's going to be audiences. Who? Now that makes sense, and it is a proponent of what we'll talk about here with the 3 ways for you to actually make this happen. But one of the key ways that you can do this is actually through the creative. It's through the images, it's through the copy, and it's the way that you position said copy as well. So a lot of people, for instance, there was a big trend in the fitness coaching space, for instance, a couple of years ago, where every coach was doing a calorie calculator and advertise this and you get low cost leads. And the very interesting thing was that because everybody was so curious, this completely free thing in which it will pop out something very individualized to myself, and that instant gratification of I only need to plug in a couple of numbers and I get something that's personalized to myself within about 11 seconds, it did create very low cost, inverted commas, leads. What happened on the other side though, that almost everybody saw, was the amount of action taken on the other side was extremely low. So how interested that person was, the level of intent that they had when they became a lead, and possibly even the type of people that Facebook started to optimize for because of the type of behavior that they have, was just not there with that type of thing. So what you're sending people to and how you're communicating it through the images and the copy, the written part of the ad, is so unbelievably important. Now, to give an example here, so we've got a client, Ryan, who sells fitness coaching packages completely online. A lot of people think that we solely work with fitness coaches. Now we're at the position where it's less than 50% are health, fitness and wellness, but it comes from my background of running fitness events. So originally it was like 99% fitness coaches, and then it became about I don't know, about 75%, and some were wellness and other things, and now to the point in which we've got business coaches, property coaches, investment coaches, cake baking coaches, like literally everything inside there. But Ryan is a fitness coach, and he has a very, very premium price point for his coaching services. In the fitness space, if you're in the fitness space or you've ever met anybody in the fitness space, you'll know that selling $6,000 to $8,000 fitness coaching packages is pretty expensive, but Ryan does it successfully directly from ads. Now, how is he able to do that? Because he creates ads that are like Marmite. He very specifically has in the ad copy that he's looking for a specific type of person who's in a specific type of role, who is earning at least $100,000 per year. And as you can imagine, when you put this type of thing into images and copy, that you're going to end up with quite a lot of hate in the comments, but you're also going to have very, very high quality leads come through, and that's what he finds. So like his cost per inbound message, for instance, so he's running messenger ads with this, and his cost per message can be anywhere between like in some states he runs them in the US, even though he's in the UK, so in some states it's like $7.50, but in the places where he's had the most success with conversions, it's more like $20 to $30 per message. Now you might be looking at that and going, wow, that's high. I know people who run messenger ads and get messages for $2, and so do we, because we've got them inside the program. But Ryan very specifically is looking for very, very high quality leads, so he creates that like Marmite style creative that very specifically says, this is for you if, and I know it's a small amount of people, but if you are that type of person, then there's never going to be a better fit than this thing that I've got for you right here. The majority of the people that he speaks to continues the conversation. He gets a ton of book calls from this, and the people who book the calls almost always show up, and his close rate is absolutely sensational on the other side. For that style of product as well, it is absolutely huge. Now, if he was doing a volume strategy and looking to get hundreds of people per week into the DMs, he would really struggle to not just sell a coaching product at 6K to 8K, but he would also really struggle to actually attract anybody like that to come in to his services, and well, to come into his DMs to talk about his services. And so the very first thing you can do for lead quality is actually look at the creative itself. Because number one, you're either speaking to the type of person you're looking to attract or you're not. So are you optimizing for leads, or are you optimizing for the type of person you're trying to attract? That's number one. And then second of all, would the type of person you're trying to attract actually want the thing that you're putting in front of them? So thinking about those two things there, and optimizing your ad creative for the people you're looking to attract, not solely for volume of leads, and that can have a drastic change in the quality of leads coming through, the amount of people who take action, the amount of revenue you create, and the amount of therefore profitability that you have in your coaching business as well. And so the next one here is to actually target high-end everyday audiences. And what I mean by that, and by the way, I've got a YouTube video. It's probably my most popular YouTube video of the last like 6 months, maybe even longer, which is 7 ways to target high earners through Facebook ads. It's absolutely dynamite. If you've been interested this far in this video, like, it is a perfect fit for you, because you're obviously prioritizing growing your coaching business. More revenue, more profitability is something that you're looking for, but you want those repeatable systems that don't stress you out, that actually have high quality leads coming to you. Well, what I'm about to go through is a little bit of detail, but that video literally shows you inside the ads dashboard how to find 7 of those high-end audiences. But for the purpose of this video, the high-end everyday audiences, I'm talking about finding the people who are, for instance, like, even if you work with general pop, and you can work with any person between the age of 30 and 60 years old who is female and has this sort of wide goal that lots of people in that age group have. Well, something that you're going to want is affordability. And so the high-end everyday audiences, albeit that it's inside that video, are things like people who are interested in, if you're in the UK, Waitrose, Marks and Spencer's, maybe even Whole Foods, as there's a few of them now as well. If it was in the US, it would be Trader Joe's, it would be Stu Leonard's, it would be potentially Whole Foods as well. And finding those high-end everyday audiences through the supermarkets that are more expensive, through meal delivery services like HelloFresh and Gusto boxes. These ones have been proven across so many coaches that we've worked with to not just have incredible cost per leads. This is one that overlaps with cost per lead lever. Is you also get an amazing cost per lead, but a higher quality lead that takes more action on the other side as well. So pulling this lever through the right targeting with those high-end everyday audiences is an amazing way to do this. and that's the sound of my son behind us right now as well. And okay, number 3 here for this lever that you can pull to get better quality leads coming through is sometimes locational. Now, for instance, I thought my camera was about to go. For instance, Ryan that we just spoke about there, he lives in the UK, but he specifically wanted to sell very expensive coaching packages, and he found that he had more success when we tested out UK, and we tested out US, and we had certain types of creative for the UK and certain types of creative for the US. We did some testing back and forth. We saw cost per lead was actually lower in the UK, but the amount of buyers in the US were higher, and what they were willing to pay for his services was higher also. And so sometimes taking the very thing that you sell, the repeatable system that you have, the ads that you have in your business right now, and making them more revenue, more profitability, and more scalable overall can be nothing more than targeting a different location, which can be nothing more than duplicating the campaign and literally changing the location. Remember the test campaign that we talked about in lever number 1? You could do this with locations, in which you actually have a test campaign that's on a much lower spend, testing out the US market, the UAE market, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, other places, and you can test these out and see how your product, your offer, your lead magnet, whatever that thing is that you're advertising on the front end, how that performs in that market versus the one that you're focused upon right now. Okay, the third lever that you can pull here is the amount of action that is taken after the click. So to make Facebook ads profitable, to make them scalable, we don't just need a good looking dashboard like I said before. It's not about cost per lead overall, it's not about how many leads you got, it's about how many people took action on the other side. This comes from a place of I never grew up with any money, and when I was running my first business, money in versus money out was the only thing that really mattered, which is why I obsess over money in versus money out, not just a good looking ads dashboard. So all the results are really going to occur, and all the profitability, all the scalability is actually going to occur from the amount of people who take action after they become a lead. So once they've opted into the lead magnet, the live masterclass, the 5-day challenge, the messenger ad, whatever that thing is that you have on the front end, the amount of people who actually book the call, the amount of people who actually message you, the amount of people who turn up to calls that they book, the amount of people who buy on the calls, in the DMs, the landing page that you send them to, whatever the system is on the other side. Like I said, we've got 35 that we run with for different styles of coaches, so there's many different systems and outcomes. But the action taken after the click, after becoming a inverted commas lead, is so unbelievably important. So let's run through the maths and show you how it works, and then we'll dive into the 3 ways that you can very practically make this happen. So first of all, you spend $1,000 on ads just to set the scene. Cost per lead, just like our other examples, £2 per lead. So I'm keeping this really simple so you can see that only one thing needs to change in each of these. The really cool thing that I haven't mentioned at this stage is that you can pull all 3 of these levers, and so you can have lower cost per leads, and you can have the volume of action taken, the quality of the lead as well can go higher, and then you can also have a higher percentage of people who become leads taking action on the other side. You pull all 3 levers simultaneously, your revenue and profitability goes absolutely through the roof compared to what you're seeing right now. Okay, so this is really exciting. But volume of action taken, you spend $1,000 on ads, cost per lead is £2 once again. 500 leads equals 10 calls, for instance, right? So let's say that 50% close of your 10 calls taken. Let's say it's £1,000 for the product again. That would be 5,000 once again that's come through. Okay. However, let's say that you spend the same 1,000 on ads. Let's say that the cost per lead stays consistent at £2 per lead. So you get the same 500 leads once again. However, if you increase the volume of action taken on the other side, let's say that you go from 10 book calls to 20 book calls, because you have increased the volume of activity that happens after they opt into the lead magnet, or opt in to the live masterclass, or opt in to the 5-day challenge, or whatever it is that you use as the conversion mechanism through your ads. So if you go from 10 calls to 20 calls for the same ad spend, and you keep your close rate at the same 50% close rate, well, you've just gone from 1,000 sorry, you've gone from 5,000 in terms of revenue to 10,000. So in all of these cases here, you haven't had to really drastically improve things. Like, it's not like saying we need 5 times the amount of calls that you're getting right now, or the lead quality needs to be 500% better, or the amount of leads, or the cost per lead I should say, needs to drop by 80%. We're not giving you really scary numbers here to hit with these examples. And when you can see that you can double revenue and you can more than double your profit taken from your Facebook ads by pulling any one of these levers with any one of these strategies that we're going through to pull each lever. If you pull all 3 levers, it could get much better. And if you do all 3 action steps within each, then things could really go absolutely bananas on the other side. Okay, so let's go into 3 practical ways that you can pull this final lever and increase the volume of activity or volume of action that is seen on the other side of somebody becoming a lead directly from your Facebook ads. Okay, 3 ways to do it. Number 1 here is to give people an opportunity to take significant action immediately after the micro commitment. So the micro commitment, or micro action you could call it, is becoming a lead, right? So it is giving you their name, email address, maybe their phone number to get access to the lead magnet or whatever it may be. If you want to get people to take more action, then one of the best times that you can give them an opportunity to take significant action is immediately in that moment. In that moment, you were top priority. In that moment, solving the problem that they have is top priority. Trying to get them back into that mindset in 3 hours time, in 3 days time, in 30 days time is tougher. And it's not that that can't happen, but given the fast movers, the people in that moment where they're really thinking about this and prioritizing it, and giving them the opportunity in that moment to book the call or to buy the product, can be one of the most powerful things you can do to drastically increase the amount of action taken on the other side of becoming a lead, and the amount of revenue and profitability that you get from your Facebook ads. So for instance, if you have, let's say, a lead magnet and you get their name, email address and phone number, then instead of on the thank you page giving them the training or giving them the PDF download or the checklist or the tool or whatever it is that you're giving away for free, if on the thank you page instead you said your video training or your lead magnet or your PDF or what checklist or whatever it's going to be is going to be in your emails in the next 12 minutes. Now watch the video below to see how you can really accelerate your results and get to said result faster, or something to that effect, right? Then you can have a video 4 minutes long that thanks them for opting in, tells them the value of the thing that they're about to receive, tell them that it's going to be in their emails and to look out for it. But if they want to take action now, and this is of high importance to them, then they can take action right now, click the button below and go through and book the call. That simple step that you add in right there can absolutely jam-pack your diary full of sales calls, opportunities. And the same can be true if you've got a low price product, for instance. That can be the call to action there. It doesn't have to be the book call. But given the fast movers an opportunity to take immediate action is a huge way to get that ROI to drastically go through the roof. I thought the camera's about to go off again. The second way to do this is the emails and SMS follow-ups with anybody that opts in. So you might already be following up by email. The amount of coaches that don't do this, by the way, is absolutely bonkers to me. That they might even have an automated first email, but they don't actually have like a long automation sequence that builds know, like and trust, builds connection, overcomes objections, tells stories of clients, and encourages people to take more action. That is incredible to me that people will actually run advertising without that in place. We give every single person that we work with that has any type of lead magnet, we give them a 13-day email sequence that is already written for them that they can simply tweak and make their own. That's how important it is for maximization of ROI. But the second thing is to take this to a whole new level is SMS marketing. If you can take a phone number, today versus 4 years ago, it used to like double lead cost. Now it barely moves the lead cost whatsoever. But the amount of people that see an SMS is between 97 and 99% open rate most typically. And action taken from SMS marketing can be extremely high. And by the way, if you are wondering why it keeps like flicking, it's because like every like 45 seconds it says that this is overheated. So let's dive into the final one here as well. Okay, the third and final one here for this lever and pulling this lever is to have a second secret product. And so many mentors will tell you don't have two products because it deviates your attention away from the main thing that you want to sell the most of. First of all, it's rarely found in evidence that that's the case, especially if you are very strategic about how you do talk about each of the products. But further to that, if you have the second product, the downsell product, as nothing more than something that you use on the back end, not in public eyes, not on your Instagram feed, not on your Facebook feed, but instead on email automations for people that are not ready to take significant action, it can be a tremendous downsell that liquidates all your ad spend and brings more revenue and profitability from every lead on average. And so after the first 5 days of emails, if they have not booked the call, then you could have other emails that step in that offer them a lower price product that they can more passively buy without even having to go onto a sales call. And it's a way for you to just passively bring revenue through the system that you already have running. And so this has been 9 ways to make more money from Facebook ads. If it's been valuable to you, please hit the like button below, hit subscribe, and if you're a really good human, drop a comment below. I always love to get your feedback there and to bounce back and forth with you. Oh, and as always, I always forget right until the end that we have free Facebook ads strategy sessions in which about once every 2 weeks, the only person on the calendar is myself. So you can literally click the link below and it is extremely likely that you and I will be personally on that call together, running through the perfect Facebook ad strategy specifically for you to generate clients for your coaching business. So I'll drop the link down below. You can go through and hopefully I'll be chatting to you this week.